Hello and welcome to the War Room. This is Gaku with a primer for the upcoming Saturday ranked campaign, Take 3. Technically still Game 2 within Season 4, but we know what the count really is. Anyway, we're starting off with about 26 players, a lot of somewhat confusing treaties, some mutually exclusive, and I'm predicting there's going to be a lot of fighting over who has or hasn't actually broken a treaty. So let's start with the simpler ones. First off, Haiti, being played by Gurin, is going to be given the Spanish colonies of Cuba and Puerto Rico, and in return, Gurin will be spending 22 infamy on behalf of Spain. However, Spain wants him to do that. So Spain gets 2 states for free, and Haiti gets 2 colonies, which are almost entirely accepted pop, and can be turned into states very quickly, and his population will be over 1 million once he gets both of those. It's very likely that Spain's going to use that 22 infamy to go after Portugal, so rip Portugal. There was a treaty proposed by Portugal for a non-aggression pact with Spain. That was shot down, so unless someone like UK defends Portugal, they're not going to be long for this world. In South America, we've got a treaty between Brazil and Colombia, which defines future borders along the red line here. It also provides a defensive alliance and a non-aggression pact, but Brazil will be played by AI in the first session, so it's very likely that AI Brazil is going to declare war on Colombia for its core. So we'll see how that goes. There's an optional defensive alliance between France and Chile. France is essentially guaranteeing Chile, and the wording of the treaty is that France vows to extend their protection to Chile and defend them against aggressors. Chile in turn vows to verbally insult France's enemies if requested. The penalty if this is broken is the transfer of 1 formal apology. So this is not binding at all, but it is some flavor. Next we have the Commonwealth Treaty, which is a 3-way treaty between USA, Canada, and Great Britain. Other nations might be coming into the Commonwealth later, most likely Australia. Also, South Africa is a likely candidate, but basically the idea is to preserve the British hegemony over its former colonies and the world. UK will be given a zone of control basically covering Europe, Asia, Africa, and Oceania, while USA will maintain control over North and South America. People within the Commonwealth will not impose upon each other zones of control, which basically means that UK won't be expanding into South America, I won't be expanding into East Asia, that sort of thing, without permission. And there's really no need for that permission to be gotten or sought, because we've all got our own plans for the first several sessions anyway. So that's a 3-way treaty. Continuing from the UK, UK has a non-aggression pact with France, which means UK will not be helping Prussia or Austria against France. France also has a non-aggression pact with Spain, so Spain is free to eat into Portugal and take any land that it wants that France might otherwise want for itself with impunity, because France can't do anything about it. France has an obligate offensive and defensive alliance with 2 Sicilies, which means that if France declares war on anyone, they can call 2 Sicilies in and they have to join, even if it's unfavorable. 2 Sicilies will be allowed to take Tunis in return, and also will be allowed to sphere Papal State and Sardinia Piedmont should they become a great power. That is, France is helping 2 Sicilies form Italy. Spain and Austria have a defensive alliance, and this defensive alliance works in all cases unless Austria is at war with France. So if France declares war on Austria, Spain does not have to join against France, but otherwise they have a defensive alliance. There is a treaty, I believe, called the Treaty of Vienna, which is meant to prevent the outbreak of great wars in Europe, and usually that happens in multiplayer games. So basically, if any 2 powers of France, Prussia, Russia, or Austria are at war with each other, the other 2 great powers can't join on either side. So wars can't escalate to the point they usually do, which is, Prussia, Austria versus France, Russia, and that sort of thing. That might happen later, but at least in this session, it's not going to happen, or else someone's going to take a massive infamy hit. Prussia and Russia have a non-aggression pact for 2 sessions, which means Prussia is probably going to destroy France. So it's a good thing for France that they've got these other non-aggression pacts, but we'll see what happens, because France can call in 2 Sicilies. We'll see if they can do anything. Russia has a number of treaties. They've got defensive alliances with the Ottoman Empire and Persia. Persia and the Ottoman Empire have a defensive alliance and an obligate offensive alliance, which is kind of odd, but whatever. Prussia and the Ottoman Empire have a non-aggression pact, which I think is completely pointless, but that's up to them. Finally, Persia and the UK have a non-aggression pact and an optional offensive alliance, which is kind of odd. I don't know why they would have an optional offensive alliance. I don't know why anyone even bothers to write that into treaties, because that's essentially what you have in game when you ally with someone that's not bound by treaty. But anyway, they have an optional offensive alliance. And that's about it. So there's a lot of shenanigans that's going to take place, and probably a lot of pausing and arguing about who has or hasn't broken rules. And we'll see what happens this next time around. Utrecht is playing UK again, but because of our agreement, he's not going to be coming after me first, which means he's probably going to be going into India. Russia, with its non-aggression pact with Prussia, is probably going to be going after Austria. Probably also be quickly expanding down into Central Asia and trying to get to India. Persia, with its agreement with the Ottoman Empire, this is an obligate offensive, so Persia can essentially declare war with Afghanistan, Kalat, or Makran, and then call in the Ottomans, and the Ottomans have to join against them. And same thing with the Ottomans. They can go to war with Egypt, and Persia has to come in. Any war that the Ottomans get into, Persia has to come in to help them. Austria has only one treaty, and that's with Spain. So chances are they're going to be focusing on things other than France, Prussia, and Russia, although Russia might come knocking, so watch for that. We have a Belgian player, which is kind of rare in ranked multiplayer. Belgium is being supported and protected, though not by treaty, and doesn't seem that anyone at this time is really supporting Netherlands and eating Belgium, so this could be interesting. And Netherlands will be somewhat gimped by this, as they won't have the industrial base to support all of their colonies, so they'll be easy pickings this time around, I predict. France will be free to go after whatever colonies it feels like, because it's got non-aggression pacts with anyone who might feel interested in intervening. Also shouldn't feel threatened by Austria, so watch for a major war between Prussia and France this session, especially since Prussia has a non-aggression pact for Russia that lasts for 2 sessions. Spain definitely will be focusing on Portugal, and you can bet that Portugal will have 2 states missing by the end of this session. So that player is probably going to rage quit. South Africa is a player, and since he's sort of de facto part of the Commonwealth, he's probably going to be allowed to form actual South Africa, present-day South Africa, by annexing Orange and Transvaal, and also Zulu. So Portugal's got competition down there. We've got players in Chile and Argentina, which means there's a lot going to be taking place here in South America, but thankfully for them, Brazil will be gone for the first session, which likely means Argentina is going to get Uruguay, and Chile is going to expand into Bolivia. And if they work together, Chile and Argentina can take a lot of land for themselves before Brazil comes back for session 2. I'll be helping Colombia directly. He's going to do a minor conquest against Ecuador first, and then turn around and take a state off of Venezuela. Canada and I will be working together as before. We haven't come to an agreement with Mexico yet, so we'll see if anything comes of that, but we don't have any treaties right now. There's an Australia player. He's probably going to do the traditional Australia sorts of things, that is, annex New Zealand first, go for Bali, and then try and get some colonies in this area. Since Australia is de facto part of the Commonwealth as well, he's going to need permission from the UK to do anything in this area, but it's very likely that the UK is going to give him permission regardless. Haven't heard anything from Japan, so Japan's just kind of doing his own thing. He might come into conflict with Russia, might come into conflict with Australia, UK even. He might even come after me at some point, there's no telling, but most likely he's going to go for Dainam and Korea in the first session, Korea first, and maybe Taiwan. So yeah, that's it. Looking forward to yet another run as the USA. Hopefully this one will run a bit longer, and see what I can make of it. Manchinio is going to be a problem in Mexico, but other than that, I think hopefully it will be a good time. So thanks for watching, and have a good one.